There we go. So first of all, this is what we're going to cover today. I'm going to talk a little bit about email myths, especially those associated with hard-to-market businesses. This is 4 winning email types. 4 winning email types, not 5. And I have lots of examples for you and some ideas to help you get started creating emails yourself. There's also some tools available, and I have those, as well as resources. So there should be lots of information to help you get started if you haven't, or to help inspire you if you started and you've kind of stalled. So first of all, there are a lot of myths about email marketing. Certainly the inbox is pretty crowded, and that is something that causes people to think maybe they shouldn't be sending an email. But email marketing is actually really effective. It's an easy way to get in touch with your customers or your potential customers or clients, and it's very inexpensive. Email marketing does not cost a lot, and the return can be really great. So while it seems like it might be quite a bit of work and you're competing with other people for inbox space, there is a lot that you can gain from sending an email for your business. It'll take me a long time to learn how to get started. Again, you might need to spend a little time researching, but you actually can pick it up pretty quickly. You don't have to be a technological whiz to create emails or newsletters to send out for your business. Using a system like ours, there's templates available for you, so we've done all the work, and you just need to add some images, text, and links, and you'll be on your way. You can create an email really quickly. You just drag and drop pictures, add your text. You could get it done in 20 or 30 minutes. Email marketing only works for the big brands. Again, it's not true. I'm sure you see a lot of emails coming into your inbox every day, probably from the same from the same retailers. I know I do. But that doesn't mean that a smaller company can't find success with email marketing. Also, I think one of the great things about being a small business versus a big one is that you can easily take the things that they're doing with their emails or with their marketing and add it to your own. So watch what they're doing, see what you think looks successful, and then borrow their ideas. You don't have to pay 10 people to be on your marketing team. You can actually get ideas and inspiration from others. Same with the next bullet, it's a similar thing. You don't have to be super creative. Again, using a template can really help you create an email that looks great and is on brand, and you don't have to do all the hard work. And the last one is, who wants to hear about my business? And honestly, I also have heard this before as well, but there are lots of people, your customers, clients, your potential customers or clients are all actually pretty interested in what it is that you're doing and what you have to offer. And so sending an email can keep them up to date with what's going on with your business, and it can also help keep your business in their mind. So when they need the services that you offer, they're going to think of you and come to you first. So some reasons small businesses don't try email marketing is maybe they've started creating a list, but it's really small. And it doesn't really matter how small your list is. If you have a list of customers or clients, then you can start sending an email to them as long as they're expecting to hear from you. It can be something that's pretty short, but again, sending an email, especially sending one regularly, can be a boon to your business. I'm not sure what types of emails I should send to my audience. I also hear this a lot, and I think a lot of people confuse email marketing with sending a newsletter. And while a newsletter can be really effective, especially for the types of businesses we're going to talk about today, it doesn't have to just be a newsletter that you're sending, and it doesn't just have to be a promotional email. I think that's the other thing people think email is used for, is to say that there's a sale on a particular product, or if everything's 40% off in the store. And for a small business, that's something that you can't do, or you're not a realtor or a retailer, so you're not going to have things that are 40% off. But that doesn't mean that you can't send a promotional email, and it doesn't mean that you can't send emails at all. My products or service are too boring for email marketing. That's what we're going to talk about today and dispel this huge myth. And I'm afraid I'll eventually run out of things to say. Again, there are a lot of things available to you to include in your email. There's a lot of information you can share about your business that your customers and clients are going to actually be interested in. And there's probably more than you realize that are available in all of these. So these are some of the industries that often don't send email marketing because they don't think they have enough to say, or they don't think that people will find their emails interesting. So insurance, we hear this quite a bit. A lot of times on webinars, I'll be talking about doing certain types of emails or including certain information in emails, and I'll have somebody say, but I'm in insurance, how does this apply to me? But it does. All of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today will work for any of these businesses. So if you're in accounting, if you have self-storage, real estate, if you're in a service industry like plumbing, all of these things can actually work really well with email marketing, and you offer services that people are going to need, and they probably need it more often than just once a year, even outside of tax season, for example, as an accountant. So think about sending an email regularly, and generally speaking, we would recommend sending an email at least once a month. The reason is that way people don't forget that they signed up to get your email, and also they open your email because they're expecting to get it from you. Plus, then, as I said earlier, it's a great way for your business to stay in the mind of your customers so that they come to you when they need what it is that you offer. So let's talk about some email marketing content. So we're going to talk about 4 different types of emails that you can send. There's a lot of different types of information that you can include in your email, but these are ones that are going to be really helpful for any business, but particularly businesses that offer a service. So first of all, the problem solver email. So there is a lot of information that you can send to help your customers or your clients. And if you're offering a service, then that's usually what they're going to need you for. So if you do taxes, for example, since today is tax day, but there's other information you can share with your clients, not just, hey, the due date for your taxes is looming. There's other information that you can share with people during the year. So you can also look at this as a we're here to help you succeed email. It's the same type of thing. You can solve a problem or you can help your client succeed in doing something. I think some of the stuff that you can include in this type of email is answer common questions that come up with your industry. And for most industries, you're going to know what those basic questions are. I know for the email marketing business, I know what the common questions are because I hear them all the time. And so that's the sort of information that you can include in your email. So you could send an email where you're just answering 1 or 2 questions for your customers or clients. This could be something that's part of a bigger newsletter, and we are going to talk about newsletters at the end of this segment here. But answering a common question can be something that will be very helpful for your clients. It will help them figure out something that's happening in their life, and you are the one that helped them with it, and it will also help show the knowledge that you have about your industry, and they'll come to you more often. You can also provide information or tools to make things easier for your customers or clients to help them succeed or help them solve a problem. And especially if it's something that you've created, content that your business has created to help address this kind of thing, or free guides or webinars if you offer that type of information as well. Those are the sort of emails that can be helpful for your customers too. There's, again, a lot of information that you could create, and think about what it is that your customers need from your business and what sort of problems your business is solving for them. So if you're offering insurance, then you're solving the problem of dealing with catastrophes generally. And, you can send seasonal information about things that might be changing now for their car insurance or their home insurance. that they might find really helpful to get through the month of April or May. Things that they could do to help with their house maintenance. So there's all kinds of things that you could send that can be really helpful to your customers. You can also kind of think outside of the box. So, you know, maybe there's more than just providing information on the oil you need for changing your car oil, or the weight of the oil, or whatever, why there's different ones. I mean, that certainly is valuable information that you could include. But what else could somebody use that might be a little bit outside of what your business does, but still can give people information that is going to be really helpful? And again, look to you for help on these issues, or just come to your business when they need what you offer. So I mentioned this earlier, the promotional email, and one of the reasons that I mentioned the promotional email is that I think this is the one that people are very familiar with. I know I probably get, well, I sign up for a lot of emails, so I get a lot of them. I probably get close to 200 promotional emails every day. Somebody trying to sell me something is generally what a promotional email does. They want me to buy their product. It's on a discount. It's on a sale. I have only 5 minutes left before the sale is gone, or, you know, whatever. There's different ways of approaching a promotional email, and I think most of us are familiar with the retail email that comes into our inboxes every day. But a promotional email does not have to just be that. I mean, essentially a promotional email is that you're promoting your business or promoting your service or your products. And so it doesn't mean that you have to put something on sale to send a promotional email. I think there's some confusion in this. I know a lot of small businesses can't afford to put something on sale at 40% off, like maybe Banana Republic can do. But that doesn't mean that you can't send a promotional email. So it could be about, you know, it's springtime and you need to get your car tuned up. And so you're promoting your business. Hey, this is a service that you need to do, and here's the time to do it. It could be about an event that you're attending. Maybe you're going to a trade show or you're hosting something at your business. It's just something that's going to be promoting the services that you offer or your business. And nothing has to be on sale. All it is touting what you offer. If you do have something special, certainly use that in your promotional email. But if you have a special program maybe that people need to go through to get a certificate, if you offer classes, those are the sort of things that you can use a promotional email for. You can include just information on what your business is about, especially if you have people signing up to be on your list on a pretty regular basis, or you're getting new clients. That's the sort of email that can be really helpful to somebody who's new to using your business or your services. So think a little bit differently than the emails that come into your inbox, but it doesn't mean that you can't do a promotional email. I also hear this a lot from nonprofits. Well, I'm not selling anything, so I can't do that. Well, you know, there's a lot that you offer that can be included in a promotional email, so it doesn't have to be putting something on sale just to get somebody's attention. This is something that I have talked about a lot, and I don't know that everybody's doing this, but you can break up your mailing list into specific segments so that your customers get specific information, or your clients get specific information about what you're offering. There's different ways to break up your mailing list. It can be based on an action that your clients have taken or not taken, an interest that they've expressed or not expressed. Again, if somebody's expressed that they're interested in a certain service that you offer, you can, of course, be sending them emails about that, but it also could be that they're not aware of other services that you have. So sending an email to that particular segment of your list about a different service could be really beneficial to your business. So think about breaking up your list based on a variety of things. So if you've ever offered a deal of some kind, then create a list based on the people who responded to that. Purchase history or a donation history if you're a nonprofit is one of those things that is a pretty common segment if somebody's actually made a purchase with your system, then they are obviously very engaged with your business. And so those are going to be the people that you want to stay in touch with pretty regularly. So you can create an email based on their purchase history, which means then you can send an email following up with maybe an additional service that goes with the one that they've already purchased from you. Maybe they need a guide, or there's a webinar they should attend so they can use your product better. Because you know that they've expressed an interest by making a purchase, you have a lot more insight into those particular people, and you'll be able to send them some more specific targeted information. If you know specific interests of the people on your list, you can create segments and send emails based on those segments as well. So, if you're in insurance or you're a mechanic, if you know the type of car that the person who's receiving your email has, you can send specific info about that. This type of car needs to have the oil changed this frequently. And that could actually apply if you're a mechanic or in the insurance business, because both things are going to be wanting to make sure the car stays maintained. If they are a renter, if they own their house, if they have a small business that you're insuring, they all have specific interests. And the more you know about your clients or customers and what they're interested in, you can send them very specific emails. The more targeted the email is that you're sending to your recipients, the more likely they're going to open it, interact with it, and do something. They're going to take an action. So they're going to make a purchase or download something or make an appointment. So it kind of depends on the sort of information that you've collected, but this is stuff that you can store in a mailing list. So if somebody's signing up to be on your mailing list, for example, that could be a field on your sign-up form, but it's also probably information that you just have about them, and if you keep it in your mailing list, you can use that to create these different segments or targets. Also, seasonal needs, again, depending on the type of service that you have, seasonal needs can be just about anything for just about any business. If you have a salon, it's coming up to summertime, so people are probably going to be needing to get their hair refreshed, right? So, there's all kinds of things that you can send based on what's going on seasonally. And it can make for really good content in a newsletter, but it can also be good content for specific emails that you're sending out. And so speaking of newsletter, this is a pretty common type of email and something that can be really helpful if you offer a service, because there's a lot of information that you can put in a newsletter versus the other types of emails. One of the things that you can also do that I like to recommend, at least to some companies, is sending a newsletter once a month, but then maybe sending a promotional email or one of the targeted emails that I just talked about also once a month. So that way your recipients are everybody gets the newsletter, and then different segments of your list get other specific information about what's going on with your business. So your newsletter email can have all kinds of information, and there's so much that you can share with people. You won't actually run out of content for your newsletter. Anything that's new or different in your industry, anything that's been updated, can be really interesting to the people who are getting your email. Anything that's changed in your business itself, not just the industry, but what's going on with your company, that's really good information to include. One of the things to keep in mind is that you don't have to create every single piece of content that's in your email. There's lots of resources out there that have articles or blogs or infographics or videos that you can share in your email. So as long as you give credit to whoever created it in the first place, you can use those types of articles or whatever content for your email to help give a little more information about your industry. And again, it makes you look like a knowledge leader because you actually know this information and you're able to share it. Usually for articles or blogs, I would suggest that you just put a couple of lines of text, a couple sentences of the article, and then link to where someone could read more. That way your whole email isn't just one big long article. Any kind of notifications that people need to know, anything that's urgent in your industry or in your system that they should know about. Again, seasonal updates, which could be anything. If we're finally coming into spring for most of the country. California, we were in a drought, so it's been spring all year. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that happens at this time of year for people. You know, if you're a plumber or you have pool maintenance, it's time to start getting people to get their pools updated and ready for the summer season. So whatever's happening now is the type of information that you can include in your newsletter. Also include something fun. I mean, including valuable information is really the crux of good email marketing. You really need to have good content because that's what's going to keep people opening it. But including something fun can also be good. We used to, well, we still do, but there was an insurance company that mails through us, and every month they would have in their newsletter a recipe. So it kind of makes sense, you know, depending on what you're insuring, but you want your customers to have happy, healthy lives. So having a healthy recipe in your newsletter can be something that's kind of fun for your readers, a little bit different outside of the insurance stuff that you have in the rest of your newsletter. Or you could have a funny GIF or a funny cartoon. Something interesting, something a little different for your readers, and that can help also keep them engaged as well. So these are some big brands that have some good marketing skills that could be considered boring. I mean, batteries, it's something you need for everything, but how do you make that exciting, right? It's tax time again, electricity, banking. They're traditionally not super exciting for marketing, but these guys have done a really good job with their marketing. And I think that, again, you can look to some of these big brands to get some inspiration. Sign up for their emails and take a look at what they're sending. Take a look at what they're doing on social media. I'm only going to touch a little bit on social media today, but you know, you can still share a lot of information on social media and get a lot of people following you. Again, you need to have a mix of stuff that's business and stuff that's fun. You have to be able to inspire people to look at what you're posting. So it should be a light tone of voice for social media, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a social page like for Facebook or Twitter or something. So you don't have to be a big guy to have email marketing skills. There's lots of things that you can do as well. So these are some examples of some emails for you. So this is from a CPA, Terry Davis CPA. And they send out a monthly newsletter, and there's all kinds of different pieces of information that they include, and they've kind of broken it up into different sections. So there's like the wealth advice, estate planning, the one above that's this one up right here up at the top. The one just above it that I cut off in my terrible screenshot was about some HR information that can be really helpful for people. Two very different articles, but they still are helpful to the people reading the newsletter. They also have a tax planning tip of the week. How helpful is that? What's new from the IRS? What's new from the court? So they have some articles, again, not something that they had to write every single one of these, but again, they're a knowledge resource, so they're sharing things that will be helpful for their clients. And then at the bottom of the newsletter, they have a business tip and a wealth tip. And so kind of fun or interesting and useful. But again, they've also done a nice job of keeping this pretty short. They don't have really long articles that will take up a lot of space and people aren't going to see all of the information. Instead, just a couple of lines of text and then a link where you can go read whatever information it is that you're most interested in. So again, you don't have to have a super glamorous business to send out a great email that looks like this. This is Chevron newsletter from Richmond, which is in the East Bay here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So they, again, have a nice balance of text and images. They have different articles that you can read. So there's information here specific to the area that this refinery is located. And a couple of stories. They have innovation for the area. Then they have one about the history of Chevron. And one of the things that I really like in this particular newsletter is that they have meet our employees, which I think is a really good idea. I would definitely recommend, if you're sending out a newsletter, that you have information about the people behind the business. That's certainly something that makes it easier for people to connect with your business if they know who they're working with. So if you have like an employee of the month, you can include that info in your email. Volunteer of the month, just doing something like this where you just meet different people who are working at the business really helps your customers or clients connect with your business on a more human level. And then at the bottom of their newsletter, they have more information about getting in touch with them, following them on Facebook and Twitter. Again, you don't have to be super glamorous to be on Facebook and Twitter. They have a lot of information available there as well. So I think this is a really fun newsletter. It's not really long, a couple of articles, but they're staying in touch with their clients and keeping people up to date on what's going on. This is a insurance company, and they have all kinds of different information available. They have highlights this week of some stuff that's been going on in the insurance world. And then at the bottom of their newsletter, they have some specific articles that they're sharing. And I love the first article, transactional email requirements. So rules on sending out transactional emails. It's great information that they have. And they're sharing it with their readers. There's a lot of information in this newsletter, and you get to pick the information that you're going to look at. I like that they have some links. There's some PDFs that they have in there, just keeping people updated on what's going on. So again, it doesn't have to be really fancy. They don't have a lot of pictures in this, but they do have a lot of great information for the people getting the email. And this is the same company. They also did something that I suggested. So they send out their monthly newsletter, and then they had a webinar. So they sent out an email to invite some of their customers to their webinar. So it's a training webinar. They have a nice call to action button in their email, which is pretty important. If you want someone to do something, you have to tell them to do it. So if you need them to download something or sign up for something, tell them to do that. And that's your call to action, whatever you're trying to get them to do in your email. And using buttons can be really helpful to get people to click on your links to get them to go do what you want them to do. So it's a nice call to action button. And again, a supplemental email to the newsletter that they were sending out. So there are some tools available to you. I know a lot of people have questions about using social media for their business. And, you know, I think that there's plenty of different platforms available that can be right for whatever your business is. Facebook is the one that has the most users, and so the chances are pretty good that your customers or clients are there. So that's usually a place to be. They have certainly made some changes on Facebook, so it's a little bit harder for people to see all of your posts, but that's probably a good place to start. It could be Twitter works for you, or LinkedIn. It just depends on your business. But finding at least one place on social media where you can interact directly with your customers and clients can be really helpful. And again, you want to use a lighter tone. Usually on your website, you have a more business-like tone when you're writing. But for Facebook or for other social platforms, you want a little bit lighter tone. It makes it easier for people to interact with you and interact with your business if you make it a little more conversational than professional. When you're creating your emails, using things like personalization can help people feel a little more like you know who they are. So if you know someone's name, you can personalize your email with the name. Sometimes people like to put personalization in the subject line. I'm a little on the fence about that myself. It can be really effective, for sure, putting somebody's name in a subject line. I find it a little weird that they want to put my name in the subject line, especially if they use my whole name. It's like, use a first name or don't personalize the subject line is what I would say. The other thing is if they've made a purchase from your company, you can use that as information in your email. If you know, again, what kind of car they have, you can say, you know, there's information about this particular car. There's been a recall on this part, bring it into your mechanic or into us, your mechanic, and we'll fix it. Or, you know, if your insurance company can do that. If you know a little bit of information about the people on your list, you can use that to personalize your email. Infographics, or actually anything that's more interactive than just text in your email, is also really effective. And people really like infographics. I know that we make a lot of infographics here at VR because people really tend to like them a lot. And again, you don't have to create these. You can find them. There is a site called Visually where people post their infographics. And also, I find Pinterest to be really useful in finding infographics. You can just search for your industry and they'll come up. You can also just search for infographics and they'll come up, but then it's going to be for all different kinds of things. But if you look for your industry, you can find them posted on Pinterest. It's a really good resource for marketing goods. You'd be surprised. It isn't just all about pinning your favorite nail designs. That's what I see a lot. But it's also really good to find marketing stuff as well. And, you know, all of these things are free. So if you find something that you like, you can share that in your email. Blog posts, I mentioned these earlier, but blog posts can be really helpful. If you're creating a blog for your business, then by all means, you need to include that in your email that you're sending. It's just going to help you drive more traffic to your blog. Search engines really like blogs because they tend to be updated on a pretty regular basis. So if you have a lot of traffic coming to your blog and you're updating it pretty regularly, that can be really good just for your business in general to get found on Google or Bing or whatever people are using to find you. You can also share industry blogs as well. As I said earlier, if it's something that's going to be important to your clients, then it's something you can include in your email. Call to action, not just call to action buttons, but call to action in general. You generally want to have a purpose for sending your email. You know, it could be that you need to get this information to your clients. It could be that you want them to make a purchase. Whatever the purpose of your email is, you know, make sure it's really clear what they're supposed to do. Click on a button, download this, sign up, buy this. Whatever the purpose is, it should be clear. And call to action buttons make it easy. I pointed that out on that webinar email, that a call to action button can be really helpful. It just makes it easy for people to go do what you want them to do. They really stand out. Also, anybody on a mobile device, it's a lot easier to click on a button than on a text link. We have a free button site. It's buttons.verticalresponse.com. And you can create a button in whatever shape you want. It can be whatever color you want. You can pick your font. You can put your text on it, and we'll make the button for you, and you can use that wherever you want to. And that's free. So how do you get started? Hopefully, at least some of you are already sending out emails. But even if you are, you can probably come up with some other information that you can use. And I think the important thing is to really think about what it is that your customers need. What are you trying to help them solve for or solve in general? And then create some content to help them with that. Or find content, you don't have to create everything, that can help them with whatever that particular need is. So, you know, maybe have a couple of people have a meeting and brainstorm about what type of emails you want to send and what type of content you can include in those emails. It doesn't have to be super slick and fancy. You can find great things on the internet that you can share that your customers and clients will find really helpful. But what do you already have? Do you have white papers? Do you have videos that you've created? Videos are great for emails as well. What do you have that you've created that you can share and include in an email? What do your customers need? And what would differentiate your business if you sent specific content from the other people who offer the sort of services that you offer. And again, this is where you want to think a little bit outside of what your business specifically does to help address some of the needs that your customers will have, with something to do with your industry, but maybe not specifically what your business does. And if you can provide that type of information, again, they keep coming to you for the knowledge that you've shared. You do not have to do all of the emails that I talked about today all at one time. Start slowly. Like I said, I think sending a newsletter can be helpful if you're in an industry like insurance or real estate, if you have a salon. Those are the sort of things that you have a lot of information that can be shared, and a newsletter is a good way to do it. If you find that to be daunting, start out slowly. Send one email a month, and it can just be a promotional type of email where you're talking about a service that you offer so that your customers and clients know that you have it, or the problem solver type of email to help them solve the problems that they have. And then as you're going along, you can add in more newsletters or more emails. You want to test out the stuff that's being sent to your readers, and you need to check the reporting. When you send out an email, you're going to get reporting back. You're going to know who's opening your email, who's clicking on links. You're going to know if addresses are bouncing or if people are unsubscribing. And you need to take a look at that because it's really important to know what your customers or clients are finding useful in your email. So you need to see what links they're clicking on, what articles they're finding the most useful, so that you can continue to give that type of information to them because they're telling you what they're finding most useful in your email. So look at what links are being clicked on, what your customers and clients are finding really useful, and keep sending them that information. And that's where testing comes in as well. You can test out the sort of information that you're sharing, see how it's being received by your readers, test out what you put in your subject line to get them to open it. So there's a lot of stuff you can test, but always check the reporting to make sure that you're sending them the right stuff when they need it. So I know this is a little daunting with those links, but these are some resources. First of all, our blog has a lot of information available to you. And I think one of the things to keep in mind is that if you're reading one of our blog posts about an email or content, you need to keep in mind that we are not specifically saying, unless it's a blog about being a retailer, that you have to be in retail in order to use this information. You can apply pretty much anything we have on our blog to your business. You might just need to think slightly differently about what is there, but the ideas are going to be really useful for your business. And our blog is published 4 or 5 times a week, and it's just about marketing for small businesses. It's not about using our system. It's really just marketing ideas and tips to help you use our system for sure, but to help you grow your business and be successful in your business. I just put the buttons site back up there in case you missed it before. And then there's these 3 websites, specifically these articles can be really helpful as well. But if you go to Content Marketing Institute, Contently, and Inbound Marketing Agents, all 3 of those have case studies or articles about brands that are boring. And you can just go to those websites and search for boring. That'll probably pull them up because they all have it in their titles.